I've been ready from the jump. Tell me anything, but never tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm on. You can bet I've been above. You can never see me like I'm John. Seen it with a song. Yeah, we kicking in the whip, boy, then vroom vroom. Invisible like Bitcoin, but all around we taking over the world. I'm making her with the girl, head to tail like a flip coin. You can take it how you want. I've been up having fun. Yeah, baby, this ain't a disjoint. I ain't famous, I'm a boss. I've been up stacking sauce. Do you share the hit, boy?
What's up, everybody? My name is Clue. This is the Kent Farm Podcast. I'm here with Ash. How you doing, man?
I am pretty damn good, mate. How you doing?
Pretty damn good. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I mean, it's been a big week, hasn't it?
It's been a very, very, very big week. I've had the longest and best probably 4-day weekend of the year by far.
So, 4-day weekend. Let me know, how many hours have you spent watching this film?
Easily, so obviously you need to take into account, so I've watched the movie from start to finish 3 times. So
Yep.
that's 12. 12?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's 12. Then you take into account all the scenes I've just watched individually.
Yeah.
That probably accounts for I would say a good 5 or 6 hours. So we're talking
Yeah.
about a solid 18 hours, I would say.
It's getting to that point, isn't it? It's pretty crazy how much it's just so engaging. Like,
It really
you
is.
think with a 4-hour film, you go, "Oh yeah, sweet, I've watched that once," and then that's it. But really, that's not the case at all. What's up, Zach?
Hey.
How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining. We're gonna just discuss a bit of the film, and I don't really have any structure specifically for this one. I'm just thinking we discuss the film, and then maybe we do a full breakdown later. But I'm just here to geek. I'm just here to geek out.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, 100%. That was one of my things I was most surprised at. Just honestly, how well the movie flowed from start to finish, and I really think Zach was, knocked it out of the park with his chapter structure. Really, I think, yeah, honestly, perfect.
Well, no, I have to agree. I think the fact that we've had this structure that essentially encapsulates, and it comes down to it's episodes, isn't it? It feels like episodes, and
really does.
each one sort of makes you want to continue watching. And I think that's why a lot of people who are sucked in thinking, "Oh, well, I can always pause it whenever I want," are finding that they're skipping ahead and not doing that. Which is just fantastic. Which is just fantastic to see. Erin, how you going? I've watched it 2 times now. Awesome. What's your favorite part? What are you loving the most? Let us know. How yeah. So let's just spitball here. Let's talk favorite chapter. Let's talk favorite character. Where are you at after this?
Dude, it's so tough. It's really hard. I've got to be honest, I don't think I can say I've got a definitive favorite chapter. For me, it's got to be between chapter 4, so Change Machine.
Yep.
Absolutely love that chapter to bits, and probably chapter 6, Something Darker.
Yeah, okay.
I think chapter 4 was just really when things started to really pick up, and I absolutely I've got to be honest, I did get pretty teary that first time when we saw all the league around the table, and Cyborg plays the hologram of Superman with that Man of Steel music. Just so good to have that back, and Something Dark where just it's they're all coming together, taking on Steppenwolf. Though some of the best shots I've ever seen, not just in DC movies, but just in pop culture film genre in general.
Yeah.
At the league, like that shot of when Batman was driving the Batmobile, and you see all the league with him as he's about to blow up the building. Man,
that shot was perfection, wasn't it?
Money shot, absolute money shot, and man, and obviously like the scene that still gives me goosebumps, and I still can't stop thinking about is obviously the boom tube scene when Steppy's head gets chopped off, rolls the feet of Darkseid, and does the stomp, and just his first time looking at the Justice League.
I think the interesting thing about that is that we'd seen it, right? We knew that was coming. And I think that's what's so cool is that we've seen all these little storyboards and bits and pieces, and we've seen the bit of Aquaman stabbing him. We knew that this was supposed to happen in a certain way, but seeing it play out completely different. I also noticed that the actual scene of Wonder Woman cutting off his head, where she dives and she's like this, that was used elsewhere. I swear to God, that was used elsewhere, right? Because we've seen that before. But in Justice League, that was swapped out. And I can't, for the life of me, think of where, but I was like, I know that. I've seen that shot.
Yeah, so Justice League, instead of chopping off Steffi's head, well, she basically cuts his sword in half, and then, the rest of the parademons come after him because he's quite scared and very fearful, and
I
mean,
there's I've got about enough enthusiasm. Oh, you've heard as much enthusiasm as I can muster for that narrative that Joss Whedon and fucking Jeff Johns put together. That's just pathetic. Oh my God.
Let's just address that real quick. I don't know about you, but I laughed my head off when I saw at the very end the special thanks thing during the credits, and Jeff Johns'
special thanks for fucking up my movie, you prick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Special thanks, right? That's how
I think at the end of the day, like, I reckon there was more, him just being a good bloke than anything. He's not really said anything negative about Toby Emmerich or Jeff Johns or anything like that, but we all know. And I think even like at bare minimum, the stuff with Ray, that's got to be a factor. He was just being a good bloke. We've got the man here. Tony, how you going, man?
Boys, how we doing?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you feeling? You finally able to talk about the film? So you and I obviously got to see the thing a little early.
Been sitting with it for a while, just sitting with my feelings for a while, man, and about 6 viewings in. Jeez.
6 viewings. I think your audio's someone's audio's giving us a bit of a scratchy sound. Something going on.
I think it's Tony's.
Yeah, you might need to chuck your headphones in, mate. That's all good.
Just while I was doing that, how about you, man? What was your favorite chapter, if you could pick one?
I think chapter 3 is my favorite. I think it really, really goes into detail about not only Cyborg but Aquaman and Flash, pointing out that beloved mother, beloved son factor. At its core, the obvious is that it's Cyborg, but when you think about it, then you got Barry talking about how his mother was murdered by his father supposedly and is in prison. And then you got Aquaman talking about his mother as well. I think that was a really cool sequence. Probably my favorite. And I think just all the stuff that we missed with Cyborg, the scene with the waitress, which I don't know if you guys have seen, but on Twitter, the waitress posted a thing saying, "Oh, I was cut from the 2017 version. I'm the waitress that Cyborg does. Did I make it into the film?" And everyone's like, "Yes, you were phenomenal." And she's just today she finally got a chance to watch the movie and was so happy with how it all went. That's nice to see.
Awesome.
But yeah, I absolutely love that bit. Just a few comments here. Andrew has watched it 5 times. His favorite, his favorite part was the vision showing Darkseid and Superman holding Lois's dead body. Yeah, and I'd be curious to know. I mean, it wasn't necessarily very obvious that it was Lois to those who aren't necessarily in the know. So I'm interested to see how that plays out for just general audiences and what their thoughts are on that. And then how's the scene with Cyborg? Yeah, there we go. That was probably one of my favorites in the entire movie.
That little action where it just goes like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you guys seen Community? I've been seeing like I'm in a lot of sitcom groups on Facebook, and I've been seeing like all these Snyder Cut memes just tying back into different TV shows, and one of them was Cyborg doing this, and it was from Community where the Dean gets the VR machine and he's like zooming everything in by just going like that. He's zooming everything in, and then just like putting Cyborg, and then it's him saying Jesus wept for there were no more worlds to conquer, which he just keeps saying throughout the episode because he's just so like blown away by this VR world.
What a show! My
It's so good.
Train up in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Tony, we're just talking our favorite chapters. Having seen it a couple of times now, where are you at? What's your favorite chapter?
Oh mate, I every time I've watched it, it's just been like it's just been like a full viewing, so I can't get lost between where one starts and where one ends.
Yeah.
But I will say what I was most kind of looking forward to, I built it up in my brain of how it was going to go down and everything, was the history lesson and that little cyborg vision that we knew we were going to get. So wherever those two lie within it, they were the ones that I was just like blown away from. They were my favorite scenes.
So you were happy with how the history lesson played out, fairly similar to what we already had, obviously with just a little more extra. I've seen a couple of people going, I was sort of hoping to get more, but I mean, it didn't really bother me. I thought it was cool.
Man, like 8 minutes, I think that's all it lasted. But you know, we finally got those actors. The guy that played Zeus in. We got Ares with the
guy
big
played
prominent
Ares.
role. Oh my,
the guy played
the
Ares.
face swap.
And they had the face swap anyway. Yeah.
I loved it though. I loved every second
great.
of it. Like just the lantern, the way that kind of went down, that little screen grab of him trying to grab the ring.
I liked that in Justice League. I liked that rather than just firing lasers, he did the hammer thing and knocked one out. I sort of was hoping to see that because I liked that he was shooting them down. But again, I thought just some sort of like variation on that. I would have liked him to be going, yep, shoot, and then swing, knock someone out, and then. But no complaints there. But that was something that I thought, oh yeah, okay. Well, that was actually cool that they'd done, but it's minimal. It was very minimal.
Yeah, and I think all of us that have been like clinging onto this all these years had so much Green Lantern buzz, like kind of building up in our minds, and I guess it didn't kind of deliver everything we'd kind of hoped. Lantern wise, like the Reynolds thing and the Jon Stewart and the lake house scene and all those kinds of things that we thought we were getting, but
I mean, it is interesting to point out. It is very interesting to point out that earlier this week, the fact that the whole Zack wanted Ryan Reynolds came out as legitimate, and a lot of people who were like, no chance, and like making fun of anyone who mentioned it. I always thought it was probably on the cards, truthfully. Like, I would trust that source. That Ryan Reynolds information I thought was probably legit. And I felt like, Gaza and Grace both sort of said, hey, look, it didn't happen. He wanted it to happen, but it just didn't happen. And people were like, oh, yeah, what a cop out. Yeah. And I always was like, it's probably likely. You look at the fact that Zack had done the CGI and Zack had done all the like nightmare stuff later. I'm telling you right now, if it came down to Ryan Reynolds going, yeah, sure, we'll film it via distance or via Zoom like you did with the Flash, but you'd have to CGI the suit. There's no fucking way that Ryan Reynolds is doing another CGI suit.
Yeah, well, like we saw with this history lesson, Lance, and it was all practical minus the actual emblem kind of sat in front of it.
Yeah, I like that suit a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. Like, okay, they'll do it. They'll do it respectfully, and I still think there's too much smoke for there not to be a little. Like, Ryan's been on a world tour of redemption stories for his previous roles, so you know, maybe not a full-fledged Hal story, but
Hmm.
you know, we'll see.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. He was always there to be a little tie-in, not necessarily a main role. But and it's worth pointing out that the Green Lantern HBO Max series does start filming in 3 weeks, 3 and a bit weeks. No, it'll actually be 3 weeks. Yeah, today. 3 weeks today it starts filming, so that's cool to note. And yeah, as Andrew says here, we got to see Kilowog in the Vision. He was dead.
That's the one that was dead. Okay.
Yeah, I did make the joke. Someone was like, "Oh, I was hoping to get the Green Lantern Corps, but obviously Corps is spelled with a P." And I did make the joke, you know, we wanted the Green Lantern Corpse, but we got the Green Lantern Corpse.
Same, right?
Yeah. You know, they added the E. We didn't want the E. So, did you guys read the interview with Zack where he said, Warner Brothers made Zack cut Jon Stewart from the end scene, and Martian Manhunter was a compromise. Yeah, I did see that. I mean, what's the most interesting to me is that he said we shot something with Green Lantern. That's the most interesting to me because that tells me that Zack has cast Jon Stewart and filmed Jon Stewart, which is crazy.
Shout out to Murray. Fingers crossed to Murray. Give me a Murray.
I mean, it's possible. The question is, did he film it in 2016? Or did he film it now? Now, I know additional photography was 3 days, but we know he also like sneaky got Harry Lennox in there, and he shot that in his backyard, and I'm pretty sure he shot some other shit in his backyard as well. So it's there's definitely potential that that he'd shot whoever Jon Stewart is.
I want to get that distinction right though, because he initially said that he had called Ben and Leto, and he was like, "Yeah, let's just do it in my backyard." I don't think that's what actually went down.
No. They didn't do that, correct. But Harry Lennox wasn't filmed in 2016.
Right.
He didn't have anything in 2016.
So when the Harry
exactly. However, I did see a thing a while ago saying this was probably like a month before the actual additional photography happened, and it was like a text going around that had gotten out that somebody had said that Harry had said, "Oh, I just have to get a COVID test. I'm filming with Zack this weekend."
That's right.
And
it was like in October. It at one point.
Yeah. So that, or it was like a personal text message that sort of leaked from whoever, and that sort of spread around a bit. So I think that he probably was told not to do it and then did it anyway. But that wasn't part of the additional photography technically. But it was also like 4 seconds of footage. So like that could have easily been done on a green screen in his house.
So now that we know that it's not mocap and we know what the design looks like, we know that for any of the Martian Manhunter scenes, it's not like he has to actually be present. It's a lot of just, you know, ADR afterwards or whatnot. So yeah, I reckon right up until that last point, it was still Lantern until Warner Brothers just swung that axe and was like, can't do it. Placed that in that big cliffhanger that all the articles were saying it's going to come in. You know, yeah, it's big, I think
the Martian Manhunter thing was the guy who wrote it in October, and I don't think he was expecting Martian Manhunter to be part of the promotional material. I don't think he was expecting people to be aware. I don't think he was paying attention personally because he's going on about it. I reckon Martian Manhunter was always, well, not always, but obviously by that point we'd known. And I think the guy who put up that article and said there's a mind-blowing cameo, it was always Martian Manhunter.
More for someone that didn't know what was going. Yeah,
exactly. I just wish he didn't say, you know, it's a mind-blowing cameo for hardcore fans. It's like, no, hardcore fans are aware that that's happening.
You already know. Yeah, we followed. Yeah.
Gaza was saying that the actor for Jon Stewart is pretty young. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Would make more sense, especially with how being Ryan's
being
age, a little bit grey. If he's mentoring anyone, it's going to have to be someone that's probably slightly younger. So, within our Hollywood kind of little cast that Zach's worked with previously, is there anyone within that little realm that we think may be a possibility?
I think that Zach's probably cast someone who's an unknown. I think
like Ray.
Well, yeah, exactly. You look at Ray, you look at Ezra to a degree at the time. I mean, Ezra 2014, you know, he wasn't in any blockbusters. He'd been in that Something About Kevin.
Wallflower, Something About Kevin. Yeah, my buddy was just talking about it. I haven't seen it, but I think it's on the list.
I studied film and had to watch part of that for a course, and it was it's weird. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. So I mean, one thing that obviously I don't want to jump too far ahead, but having seen this, and we've all seen the film, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of this discussion will just be about the film and going into more detail. But post the film, post having seen it, how are we feeling on the Restore the SnyderVerse stuff now? I mean,
what do you reckon, Ash?
As the great Palpatine once said, "Do it,
do it."
Oh, look, I think one of the things that blows my mind is just how much of a genius Zack is, having that nightmare scene pretty much as the ending, because that is the ultimate cliffhanger tease.
Yeah,
and
it's funny. Sorry, on the DC Film Squadcast, they said, you know, Zack had one opportunity for additional photography, and he went and filmed a cliffhanger with it.
Absolute genius. The guy's an absolute genius. Yeah, look, at this point, I think it's that funny thing, because I feel absolutely amazed and fantastic about the whole thing, but also there is still this kind of, you know, between the announcement time of torture until it actually happens.
Yeah, of course.
It reminds me in a way to kind of around about a month or two before we actually got the Snyder Cut announced, because it was just actually knowing it's coming. It wasn't really about when it was coming, because realistically, we're probably not going to be getting Justice League 2. Yeah, that's right, Aaron. We're not going to be getting Justice League 2 to it probably at least, maybe 2023, 2024 if we're lucky at this point. So it's really, I guess it's really a matter of, you know, I found it interesting as well that a lot of the actors have been pretty quiet over these last few days. I know Henry Cavill did post a big, you know, post of thanks and praise to Zack.
Yeah, Henry and Ray,
Yeah, so I found it kind of interesting that a lot of the other actors have been somewhat quiet. I wonder if it's got something to do with maybe there's a lot of talk going on. They're looking at those numbers and very surprisingly, somewhat the critical reception, which I know we don't really care too much about, but it's very good to see, like from a mainstream perspective. Because I think the IMDb, it's the second highest rating next to The Dark Knight, being 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I think it's, you know, now critically speaking, it's a solid hit. So restore the Snyderverse, and that's all.
100%. 100%. What about you, Tony? You got more to add to that?
No, like you said it perfectly, man. You just can't ignore it at this point. We've got to wait for those statistics to come in, all the viewings and all the, you know, it's been trending nonstop. Even like you tweeted the other day, even the misspells are also trending. All the GA that you know, just want to kind of, you know, get involved amongst it. So I don't know, like he's kept everything open ended. You know, schedules. I think part of the actors being a little bit quiet or weary around this time is also a little bit of a bargaining chip, because we don't know what the contractual kind of obligations were in terms of marketing the movie now. If they seemed too keen before, they've already been burnt by, you know, by the reception before it, even when they thought they had the hit. So, you know, now that it has been legitimized in the eyes of IMDb and the Rotten Tomatoes and whatever other thing what critics these days want to kind of hang on to. It's got that now, so you can't deny it. It's coming, man. So Gal's pregnant, Ben's doing his thing, Ray's on projects. You know, Momoa's got his own thing, probably a sequel to film. We'll get there, but until we get there, man, I want to see a little tie-in comic. I want to see because we're not going to get this long campaign, this long driven out thing, little leaks. It's like he's going to slap us in the face with something that we're not expecting. We got the storyboards. I'm sure it's something else, whatever he's got planned. So, you know, maybe something to kind of keep us fighting, or keep us, getting it trending until that point, until it gets greenlit. So, just every day it seems like something.
To keep doing that, yeah. We've definitely got to keep all that up. I think one thing that is really interesting to me is, and that I'm absolutely loving it, is the general audience reception. You know, I don't know, down to stuff like obviously we're seeing a good critical reception. I'm seeing some people who are saying, I thought this was going to suck and I was wrong, and this is fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. But just general audiences who don't really understand. Like, I've been talking at work in my office about it for a long time. And one of the girls at work said to me the other day, she's been hearing me talk about it and has said to me today, we watched it. Me and my partner watched it the other day. And, I don't really like comic book movies, but I thought it was pretty good. And my partner absolutely loved it. And he really, really liked it. And I was sort of telling him what you'd told me. And then while I was having the discussion with her, another girl walks in who I was chatting to in the lunchroom the day that I got told that I was able to go to this IMAX premiere. And I was saying, I'm going to this thing on Wednesday. So, and sort of explained it to her. And she came in today and she goes, you were telling me about this thing last week, and I'd never heard of it before. I had no idea what you were talking about. And then I went home this weekend, and the movie came out, and all over my Instagram, all over my Facebook, like everyone was talking about this thing. And the only reason I knew what it was because you'd told me about it the week before. So just seeing stuff like that, where it's people who have no idea. Like, I don't know about you guys. But I've been getting shitloads of messages from people who I know personally who have seen me talking about it, who I haven't spoken to in years. And, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was waking up to messages, 5 or 6 messages a day from people saying, cool. I just watched the film overnight. This is what I think of it. And everyone had something positive to say, The only one that I was really pissed off about was a guy told me he was pirating it, and he not only pirated it, but he watched it, pirated a cropped 16:9 version. And I was like, that just makes me so mad. Not only that you pirated it, but the fact that you watched it 16:9 because you can't deal with the black bars. Why would you do that?
Some people are going to do that. Some people are going to do that regardless.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, the biggest takeaway is we got those people that usually have nothing positive to say to enjoy it and go tell someone else. Because I got a lot of friends dying on that Marvel hill that nothing's ever going to even compete. DC are only trying to copy. I got friends that are like, they got like, I'm sick of all these alien stuff. Why is everything sepia? Why all these alien people? This guy looks like he's got a hammerhead. What's going on? I'm like, just keep watching. Just give it a go. Like, suspend belief. It's a comic book movie. But also just take note of everybody's arc, of the respect that each character gets. There's a payoff. There's something that builds them up and gets them from point A to point B. Tell me how many other movies do that for all these other misfit kind of characters. So I don't know. Like, it's positive. It's good. Like, it's what we needed. Like,
and that's exactly right. I think even with Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out, the trending didn't stop for the Snyder Cut. I'm waking up every day and checking, and it's Snyder Cut, it's Darkseid, it's Steppenwolf, it's Superman, it's Flash, it's Cyborg, it's Barry Allen, it's Wonder Woman. It's every single character is trending. And then, as I said, the misspelleds are trending. Everything. I think by this point, they've got to be able to see the money. You look at the fact that HBO Max crashed instantly. Binge here in Australia was unable to put it out instantly at 1080p because so many people were trying to watch it that it was lowering the quality across the board. So I had a lot of people messaging me saying, messaging me and saying, "Oh, I'd been trying to watch this film, but it's in 360p," because I said, "Just hold off, just give it a little bit, you'll get there." But it's really
Asia
really
Pacific,
cool to see.
HBO. It was the Asia
No,
Pacific or Asia,
Binge.
HBO Asia. Yes,
HBO
but there was another
Asia.
one.
HBO Go in Asia crashed.
Awesome.
That crashed as well. I believe there was a record for pre-orders of digitals in India, which was 70,000 digital pre-orders prior
Indian
to
fan
release.
going strong. I find the Indian
Russia,
fans and the Brazilian fans,
yeah,
they go hard.
Brazil,
They love
Brazil was another one. Brazil had a record as well, and Russia had something like 400,000 as well. Like it's crazy. Like I think it's broken records in a bunch of countries. You look at the fact that
Sorry, can
6
I just
p.m. Go.
And that's without the Russian family. That's
Yeah.
without the
The Russian family. That's
I'm
right.
sure they would have
Real Russian family.
So the real Russian fam, the release the Snyder Cut Russian fam, making shit happen. So it's really good to see. And I mean, I feel like what we've got to do is just keep it up. And it's interesting to note too. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the Nielsen ratings that are now coming out with streaming services are based on hours watched. So in terms of most popular movies, even if the Snyder Cut was to be the most popular movie for the fact that it's massive, it's probably going to double that, because if it was 2 hours long, it was probably going to be the most popular movie anyway. And the fact that it's 4 hours long and it's going to have that watch time, it's going to be significantly viewed more than the one coming next. So I think that's a lot of stuff, the sort of stuff that's just undeniable by this point. And yes, as you said, Gal's pregnant, Ben's doing his thing. I think they'll film JL 2 and 3 back to back and release them within a year. I reckon we'll get a 2024, 2025, and they've filmed them both in one big hit, covers them for 6 months of their life, and then it's done. And that's the story told.
Isn't that sad though, when you think that Man of Steel is as old as it is now, and we're only getting a sequel, and the beautiful thing about it is, and the beautiful thing is it'll happen. That Henry and all these guys, they're still playing ball and they still have that love and passion for these characters. It just goes to show, man. Just,
So, question from Aaron here. Any info on how the Chinese market went? Well, that's what we were discussing. HBO Go in China crashed immediately as well. I know that HBO Max and HBO Go had both prepared their servers knowing it was going to be a big thing, and still within a minute of the movie dropping, both of them crashed. So really, really good news. I'm seeing reports that the movie has apparently made $650 million worldwide already. I reckon that's absolute BS. There's no way for us to know yet. And if you Google Zack Snyders Justice League box office, the first thing that comes up is 653 million, because that's what the last one earned. So
there you go.
Hashtag justice for Ryan Choi.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, they've got something there.
I would really, really like to see Ryan Choi, as he discussed, as Zach had discussed, full Chinese actor cast. Hell, I'd watch it if it was subtitles in full Chinese. I don't even care. I reckon that would be a really cool story. Don't think that they'd do it, but I would 100% be on board for a Ryan Choi movie, and I think that's something that could be separated completely from the rest. They could film that without an issue.
Ben Everts on Really Emotion today, I was listening in. was talking about how there's a lot of work around in terms of I don't know who it was specifically, but one director was like filming something where everyone was speaking Chinese, and then the kind of camera pans around, and it's like, yes, they're talking in this, but we're letting you as the viewer understand them once it kind of turns around and they're speaking English.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's also just paying respect and not whitewashing it. It's also kind of, you know, these characters are rooted in this history, but as the general English-speaking population that loves these kind of characters and wants to tune in, and is the ones that are going to drive, you know, English-speaking world the most kind of traffic, then, you know, you get it that way as well. But there's a bunch of ways to do it. So in terms of the back-to-back thing, boys, you tell me, what do you think? Have we got a series on our hands, or have we got a solid 1 and 2 movie A and B kind of situation going on?
I would think film. I would only think film because they agreed to do this as a film. By this point, I don't think we're going to have 3 films and then 2 seasons of a series. But that's me. I'm not saying that the Batman, you know, Ben Affleck's Batman, Deathstroke couldn't be a series. Hell, Adam could be a series. Truth be told, if they were to go, all right, well, we're going to do JL2 and 3 as films and then everything else as a series, perfect. Give me that.
I think it's 100%. It's just a strategy that's happening everywhere. Any studio that has a big property franchise on their hands, the character route is the way to go. Star Wars is doing it. Marvel's doing it.
Yeah.
Someone else is doing it that I can't speak about, but we're going to see a lot of cool things on a certain web service that we're going to. That's pretty exciting. Which has, that's all I can say. But it's the way to go. It's the way to go. It's the biggest bang for your buck that guarantees fan allegiance and loyalty to keep watching and tuning in.
This is interesting. China didn't have a legal market to view the film. I thought that HBO Go was the HBO service in China.
All right.
I thought that was it, but I remember seeing something. Maybe I'm thinking all of Asia but China, and then China was supposed to, because I know that there was a few countries up until like a couple of days before that weren't sorted out. But in saying that, Warner Brothers not sorting out the second biggest market in the world in terms of films.
You bet they'll have that ready for Godzilla.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. That'll be perfect. No worries. Yeah, we'll get.
The box office politics, huh? Regardless, it'll do. It's a movie that is universally, you know, everybody has.
It's already done it. It's already done it. You know, it's done. It's the success that we needed it to be within days.
Anyway,
have some villain talk. Can I jump in here? Because I really want to. I got a lot of crazy thoughts.
Go.
The 3 big baddies, but I want to ask you guys. So, who was the star in this? Steppenwolf or Desaad between the villains? What do you guys think?
Desaad was a sassy bastard, wasn't he?
Wasn't he?
Yeah. Desaad was like
Steppenwolf. Yeah. Yes, you did.
Oh man, I you know, I thought it was really, really cool that they turned around and made Steppenwolf from one of the shittiest villains in any comic book movie, and I just, you know, he was down there with the level of old mate from Captain America: Civil War.
Zemo.
But Zemo, shithouse. But they've turned Steppenwolf into one of the best villains in a series. You understand his motivation. We were given a lot from Steppenwolf. But yeah, you know what? Desaad was fun, but I'm going Steppy. We saw way more, and that CGI was fucking flawless.
Yeah, really glowed. How about you, Tony?
I'm just like I'm still shaking at the fact of what I listened to earlier in the week on Mr. John Campia's stream, when he said he actually
No.
preferred the character design of the original Steppenwolf. Man, I'm sorry, dude. Look, John, respect you, listen to you for
Nah.
years, and
Nah.
I like appreciate everything, but this you are flat out wrong on, mate. Just so wrong. Like, he actually said, all they did was add spikes, and if they had just put in the same kind of CGI movement animation work that they had put on this one, on the original theatrical cut one, that would have been better. And I mean, let's not get caught up in the negativity of it, because I'll just go on forever. Zach said it earlier in one of
The emotion.
Yep, absolutely.
The outcast
Sure.
trying to find his way back into the family, just wants to go home.
Exactly.
That you still owe me 50,000 worlds. That look in his eyes, man.
Devastation.
Yeah.
Dude, you understand why he's doing what he's doing, and I think the best villains are the ones that you can kind of empathize with. So, yeah, he was a piece of shit, but
You still wanted to see his head get chopped off.
Yeah. He was a real savage beast,
He was
wasn't he?
brutal too, though. He was
Yeah.
brutal. Like, you look at that scene where he's fighting the Amazons and he's like throwing horses and chopping people in half. Same when he was in Atlantis. You know, he chopped about 6 dudes in half, or like ripped someone in half, I think, at one point. Just brutal. But
favorite Steppenwolf scene was the dragging the Atlanteans out of the water, though, to find out where.
Oh, for sure.
That was great. That was great.
Utterly savage. Yeah. I'm really torn because I wanted to get you guys' thoughts, but I was really blown away by Desaad's voice. Peter Guinness, what a talent! Because I was talking to a mate, because apparently he's been in quite a few UK shows. Apparently he's been in Doctor Who, and he actually, one of my mates actually said, like, yeah, he's definitely got the voice for someone like Desaad, because they all sounded somewhat similar, but I loved hearing that little hissy voice, because I know, I've heard of him in like cartoons, and he's known to have a bit of a hissy voice. And yeah, like you said before, Tony, like that emotional scene where he's like, you owe me 50,000 worlds, and Steppy's going, I saw my mistake, I slaughtered those, sort of his throne. Actually, what I'll say, one of the things I was really wished we'd gotten more of, and hopefully maybe Zach will explore this, is outright having a better idea as terms of exactly what went on with Steppenwolf. Because there's, I believe, comically speaking, I don't think it's the New 52, but the other iteration where Darkseid has an older brother, and it's almost like a Cain and Abel story of sorts. Like, they're basically they've got a dad and the 2 brothers fighting for the throne. Darkseid kills his older brother and gets the Omega Force and takes the throne. And I'm just wondering, and I was wondering, like, and maybe if you guys had anything to add, like, is this a case of Steppy who just wasn't loyal to Uxas, like he wanted his brother or his father to remain in power, hence why he was exiled? Or
I don't know the exact run, but it is something about him being jealous and wanting the throne, trying to claim it. And then, and then, doing something, and it's a little bit of a Lion King kind of story in that sense, a little bit of a Scar and Simba situation, I guess.
Him being the uncle, obviously,
So, yeah, like, I dig it. There's a lot better.
Well,
go for it.
No, I was going to say, like, just on that, I think as we were sort of mentioning today, whether they do this, but Ava DuVernay's New Gods film that's, in discussions and not quite been greenlit, but they've been going on about it for years. After seeing this, that's the sort of story that I would like that film to be, and I feel like that's for me, the story in my head is Steppenwolf, tried to take the throne for himself, was bested. He tried to, start a coup, and it was bested and it didn't work. And then he sort of betrayed everyone who he was trying to take over with in order to get back in Darkseid's favor, as he sort of mentioned. That's how I see it. And if that's a story that Ava DuVernay wanted to play out with Tom King, give it to me. If you're going to make a movie that isn't related to that, don't bother. I don't want to see it.
Mr. Miracle would be cool. I think bringing Mr. Miracle would be a big thing because kind of could tie it into eventually kind of a Darkseid war situation. But I think we're going to get that big battle between Darkseid and the rest of the gang in an original story anyway. So yeah, how important it is, how significant that storyline is moving forward. I mean, it's essentially, the way I see it is like it's a history lesson with no repercussions on current timeline. So it's cool to see him in action, but very protective over Darkseid at the moment.
If they're talking about doing this film, though, why bother if you're not going to tie it into this story? Like, either you're talking about doing the film, either tie it in or piss it off. Like, those are the two options in my head.
Yeah, look, I've been thinking, I think we saw Zach. I think the other day there was an article that I read about apparently Justice League 3 or the sequels. There will be more New Gods in the story. So I'm in two minds. Like on one hand, like the whole Ava New Gods movie, maybe have it as an Elseworld, different universe thing, probably would make more sense, just in my opinion. But I really hope and would love to see some more New Gods from Zack incorporated into his vision or his arc, if you will. Interestingly enough, I was trying to do a bit of analyzing. So obviously the scene when Darkseid is, obviously walking back. Yeah, I hope so too. He's walking down the hallway after, he's basically talking about using the Armada. I was looking closely at the glass because there's obviously paintings of Darkseid's head. It's very much got like some, sinister kind of church kind of vibe. And I was looking closely to see if there was different pictures of different New Gods because in the distance, they look kind of different. I watched it a few times. So it turns out they were all pictures of Darkseid, but I was just wondering like, are there different pictures of different New Gods? Because that would have been quite interesting and quite a nice little Easter egg. Did you guys like have a look? Did you?
No, I didn't catch the little kind of hieroglyphics within the kind of hallway and whatnot, but
I saw them. I noticed probably on my third watch. It's
all good. We were looking at Darkseid doing his badass stroll to his
exactly. Yep. Only thing that I'll say is that it was only for the briefest of seconds as he turned around that we saw Darkseid with his hands behind his back. And I was really hoping to see 5 seconds of that. We only got about 1 second.
My mates didn't pick up on that.
Lost a whole star grade for me because of that.
My favorite shot of him was Superman, Lois, and then
when walking over with the hand,
blaze in the eyes. That's like the perfect.
I like that we got that underwater as well. I like that we got that in Atlantis.
That little snarly kind of look that he gave the camera as well. I love the little Robin, the Robin suit that's right in the corner of the frame while that's going down as well, just to show that it's in the Batcave. So many things going on. It's like when you break it down frame by frame, like Cyclops thing that kind of blew up today. Of Batman kind of, the mutants, catching the mutants kind of thing. And then during Wonder Woman's funeral, Darkseid watching over it and her getting buried with the arrow. So there's so many little kind of Easter eggs within.
Yeah,
I'm sure
there's so much to pick apart. That, again, why I sort of wanted to have a more general conversation today is because I feel like, over the coming weeks, as we do get a chance to sit down and talk more about it, it will be, much more on picking apart what we've noticed as it's gone on. I just want to point out, I agree with Ryan here. Ava takes on like 6 projects every 4 weeks. So
How many
Yeah, I
of those
don't
things
know.
actually pan out? Though, is a
And
good question.
that's the thing, you know. I feel like the New Gods thing probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And again, if you're not tying it in, don't bother. That's my
Especially like
opinion.
how thin can DC possibly spread themselves right now?
Yeah.
In how many different tangents if they're deciding not to go this Snyderverse route? Like
And they're going
they need
solo
to come up with a
films.
game plan. You know, like for all the but like, again, can't be going, but Hamada and thing was doing his own thing and it was doing pretty well. It's like, hey, come on, you got to give us something because right now it just feels like you're throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks, and it's not much lately. Couple misses at the moment.
Well, I think the fact that we're seeing critically, a lot of people are saying, "Hey, give Snyder the keys to the DC universe." It's like, hey, thanks, but if you were saying that 5 years ago, we wouldn't, be in this mess. But I think a lot of people are sort of starting to see it, and it's what I always sort of felt was the case. You know, people didn't like BVS because it was too dark, but that was the low point of the story. When you see things in the bigger picture, and I don't know about you guys, but the amount of people that I've seen going, well, I really liked this, so I just revisited Man of Steel and BVS, and I decided I was way too harsh on them, and I actually really liked them as well. Is fantastic. I have a friend of mine who runs a nerd podcast, and he'd given BVS a 2.5 when he'd seen it in 2016. Wow. And he was like, all right, 2.5 out of 5 stars. So 5 out of 10. And he sort of jumped it up to a 3.5. So he's given it a 7.
I think that's what you tweeted about that.
Again, not necessarily huge or a huge jump, but noting the fact that it's like, 2 entire points from just revisiting it in context with this. It's big. It is a big sort of factor, and people who have hated that film for a long time and knew, oh no, that film sucked. Looking back at it, away from what they were on, I think it's fantastic.
It's as close as you can get to a cult classic in a medium as big as it is. Words 100%. From Zack himself, right? So I think a lot of this is changing the behavioral patterns of the general audience. We're very accustomed to the latest, next thing, and where it's heading. What's the next franchise? Get us through the movie, hit all the plot points. And it's like Robert Meyer Burnett saying his wife didn't really enjoy it. And it's like, yeah, I bet you don't enjoy guitar solos either. It's like, you need to enjoy the ride. We're getting the full vision, you don't.
Yeah,
it's not just hitting plot points and sticking Easter eggs in. It's paying them off with acting, with story. So,
exactly. And I think the big thing as well, it really got me thinking, like, one of the things that Debbie was saying, really, why they're so thankful is, like, prior to the Snyder Cut, we hadn't seen the Justice League form the way that Zack intended. So really connecting the dots, because the thing with BVS, and from watching it again on Friday when I watched the whole trilogy, like, I think by far it's probably the more kind of, I guess, I don't want to use the word darker because so many people have used that in a negative way, but it is definitely, we see, like, the fall, like,
it's the low point. It was always intended to be.
Yeah, and obviously, I love the film to bits, but I really appreciate it even more knowing, like, just how much better, like, the Man of Steel and BVS and Zack's Justice League trilogy arc, just feels so much more connected with it. It's, until we got the Snyder Cut, of course, we're still going to deal with, these people that, like, I think I saw a tweet you shared today, Clue, regarding this guy that, it said, I didn't like BVS, but now I really am starting to come around because he's seen, like, the dots connected.
Exactly. And people just hadn't sort of seen the bigger picture. And it goes on to what Ryan said here. Snyder's movies always seem to be made before their time, and it very much feels like that. People watch them, and I feel like they're always divisive when people come out, and then people either review them later and go, oh, this was actually dope, or people stick to their Snyder's a bad filmmaker and he's a fascist and all of his films, just all that absolute bullshit that it's just like, oh, I've heard somebody else say this and my memory from a film I watched 8 years ago is the same. So yeah, that's the opinion that I have. It's just a load of shit. I just want to quickly point out what Zach's mentioned here. BVS Remaster is now on iTunes. If you had the Ultimate Edition, it was updated. I looked the other day and I didn't buy it because I wasn't 100% certain that it was the remaster. Is this in Australia that's the case? Because I knew that it had gone live in America, but I couldn't see anything on the Australian site that sort of suggested that was it.
This is with the updated crop and color, right?
Yeah, with the IMAX ratio put back in and all of that. So if that's the case, I'm gonna go on and buy it now. And I suggest everybody watching who doesn't have it do the same, because again, the more hype for all of this, the more likely we're going to see more.
You can never have too many copies of BVS, huh?
Exactly. There you go. It's got the IMAX scenes restored.
Cool.
And we know that the trilogy is on the way too. So
what
the trilogy of 4K.
Are you guys waiting for? Are you buying it individually? Or are you buying the trilogy kind of case that might be in store down the line? What's the situation?
Truth be told, I don't have any iTunes movies, but I will buy this. But also, I'm going to buy this. I'll buy that. I'll buy the separate BVS remaster, and then I'll buy the box set, and probably Zack Snyders Justice League separate as well, just to complete my collection. But also because, again, I know what value there is in supporting it multiple times. Watch it on binge a bunch of times and buying it a bunch of times. I've
had it on replay. Just silent. It's been on the background while I was editing this morning. So
yeah,
and I'm still listening to that Flash. Sound the song. Oh my god,
so good!
It's so good. And then the Superman Part 1 and 2 kind of reworks that he's also done. Dude,
incredible.
Junkie slayed it.
He's done so well.
Probably could have done without so many kind of Amazonian war cries every time Wonder Woman showed her face. But
there was a couple of people that mentioned that. But yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it, but yeah, there's a couple of moments where it might have been a little too much slow-mo that I did notice early in the film, and the Amazonian war cry, those two things. But yeah, again, it wasn't enough to stop my enjoyment. Yeah,
you can't ignore, and it's not like we're absolutely eating it up. All I'm saying is that, hey, this is an ode to all of us. It's a big long guitar solo for everybody. So,
Zach, just here, I don't think the BVS remaster is getting Blu-ray released in Australia. It's not currently up, but Ryan Unicom spoke to Roadshow and they said that it is going to be coming out in May. So that was Roadshow and JB Hi-Fi have both confirmed that it will be on the way.
That's interesting, because May is also when we're supposed to be getting Zack's Justice League as well.
I would say it will come out alongside it.
There's a lot of little anniversaries coming up. So we got the May 20th kind of the Man of Steel watch party announcement.
Can that be when he announces it? Oh shit! No, I'm not going to be able to sleep theorizing that.
Yeah, so like, do you like? There's got to be something. Like we had November, like February 14th. It's always going to be something special for us.
Good on you.
Is it November 17th? The initial restore the SnyderVerse hashtag trending thing. All these kind of dates. They got to mean something. There's got to be something coming. Or not.
I mean, yeah, I think that's definitely the case. It's gonna happen. But we've got DC Fandom again this year. We've got the Justice Con they're doing again, and I'd say that there'll be more on that. It's not just going to end here, and I would be very surprised if it did.
You got that,
and then Army of the Dead on the way.
Yeah, can't wait. We got the little 5-minute behind the scenes featurette added to binge today. Like,
yes. Yes, we did, but I believe that is a small part of the 30-minute that we're supposed to be getting.
Right. So I mean, more to suggest there will be little kind of drip-fed things.
Exactly. I'm just looking it up on iTunes now, and let's buy.
How much is it right now?
$15.
Only.
$15. Yeah, to buy.
Ash, do you get your pre-order in for the Black Superman?
It's 29% on Rotten Tomatoes now, guys. Just want to point out it's gone
only.
up.
Oh, wow. As Zach would say, that's just rude.
It's 29 though. You know, it was 28 beforehand, and then Zack Snyders Justice League came out, and suddenly the reviews are going up 1%. That's pretty funny.
But yes,
that's
to answer your question, Tony, yeah, I did. There was this amazing quarter scale black suit Superman piece. Weta Workshop for anyone listening.
Mm-hmm. They were only limited though, weren't they?
Oh, only 1,000, which isn't that's actually pretty high for a quarter scale. That's pretty good.
How much did they run?
Only just over $1,000.
Oh, Jesus
Christ! It's like the investment. There's only one of how many around the world. I'm sure that will go up in value eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to download this movie and I can't remember my iTunes password, so that's fine. We'll get there.
Then what other kind of Weta?
Which is good because I'd meant to watch Batman vs Superman beforehand, and I watched the first like 30 minutes, and then I had to go to work, and then I got an email from the team offering me the screener. So I didn't get to watch BVS again because I got home and I was like, well, I've seen BVS. I'm gonna go ahead and watch this film. We've got a nice comment here.
Translate.
There's no translate. We're just getting spam comments. Which is
Gana
always fun.
dinero bailando in Portuguese, I think.
But
something about winning money.
I reckon we call it there, guys. We've got plenty to talk about, and we will continue talking about it very soon. So thanks for joining, and thanks to everybody who's watched. And we will be in touch, and we'll be on. I think we'll have another video coming out Thursday. I don't know what yet. We've got to work it out. I sort of want to pick apart everything, but again, I feel like there's a lot to pick apart.
Yes, and it's like every time we get a head start on that and start getting into it, another little piece of news drops, and then there's something else to talk about.
Exactly.
But yeah, we'll be around.
We'll be around. All right. Well, we'll call it at that. Thanks for joining, and until next time.
I've been ready from the jump. Tell me anything, but never tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm on. You can bet I've been above. You can never see me like I'm John Cena with a song. Yeah, we kicking in the whip, boy, then vroom vroom. Invisible a Bitcoin, but all around we taking over the world. I'm making home with the girl, head to tail like a flip coin. You can take it how you want. I've been up having fun. Yeah, baby, this ain't a disjoint. I ain't famous, I'm a boss.